Fred Film Radio. I'm Matt Micucci from the 75th Venice International Film Festival, and I'm very pleased to be joined by two of the actors and dragged across Cronkite. Guys, welcome to Fred Film Radio.
Thanks for having us.
Hey, thanks for having us.
How's it going? So, I mean, I just watched this film today, and I'm kind of still recovering from it because it's so intense.
Well, we shot it a year ago, and I'm still processing it.
Really, yeah. I mean, just for the listeners who may not be familiar with the film itself, how would you sort of describe your characters?
Well, I mean, this is Henry Johns. He's my best friend, and basically, I play Biscuit, who picks him up out of jail, gives him a little treat, a coming home treat, and got some schemes for some money making, and that seems to kind of go awry, a little bit over my head, but you see in the film how that translates.
Yeah, I play a character Henry Johns, who's fresh out of the penitentiary, comes home, finds his crippled brother being taken care of by his heroin-addicted mother. And his best friend, Biscuit, gives him an opportunity to make their lives better. And it's a hard choice, but he chooses to do this job with his friend. And once he makes that choice to step into that world, things get a little crazy.
Yeah. I mean, Terry, your character is actually the character that opens up the film, and I feel like the audience just naturally, I mean, I sided with you more than the other characters, but what really interested me is just to know about your collaboration with Craig Zahler, whom I met last year, but how did you find working with him?
Oh, I dug it. I've been a fan ever since Bone Tomahawk, and we started speaking about this thing, and I was just all into it.
Man, I didn't find the role. The role found me while I was doing Shakespeare. I was headed to the theater. I got a call from my agent. He says, you got to read this script. I said, I'm going on stage. I have no time to read a script. He's like, you got to read it tonight, and you got to talk to this guy tomorrow. And I said, well, who am I talking to? He said, well, this guy, Zahler. I said, Zahler, one name? Yes, Zahler. You got to talk to him. And so I go, I do the show, I come home, and I start reading this script, and I couldn't put it down. And I literally, it kept me up all night because it's not a short film, but the dialogue was so rich and the story was so rich. I got through it. The next day, I got on the phone with Zahler, and we talked, and I told him what my take on the character was, and I said to him, I know this guy, and I feel like you know this guy because I grew up in the same way you grew up. So we had that similarity, and he said, I'm going to offer it to you, and I said, yeah, okay. I didn't believe him. But the next day I got the offer. I didn't have to audition or anything like that. And the experience of working with him far exceeded, what my ideas were going in. I mean, here's a guy who creates such incredible dialogue. I don't think anybody writes like him in this day and age. In a world where everybody's trying to reverse engineer successes of the past, this dude he's forging into the future unapologetically.
I mean, I feel like his films actually show you it's a genre film. Right? We can say this film is a genre film, but it's more than that. Because I find that it shows you things that you don't normally see in a thriller. Like, for instance, in the conversations that you guys have, it just feels like you don't normally see that. Now, was that just scripted or was it improvised?
It was all scripted.
It was all scripted,
It was actually, it was
That's
scripted.
what brought us all together because, we're reading something that's unique. It's unpredictable, as the movie is.
Yeah. But, I mean, do you like getting to kind of act those moments that you probably wouldn't normally kind of get to act in?
I love those moments.
Absolutely.
Because what he allows you to do too, he allows you to know and get to know characters that typically you don't spend a lot of time with. In different types of films, you really don't get to know all of the characters. I walked away the first time I saw the film, and I felt attached to every character in there. There's not one non-memorable character. Everybody felt represented, and I think that's a special thing, and it's not an easy thing to do, but Zahler pulled it off tremendously.
Well, thank you very much for joining us, guys. It was a great pleasure talking with you.
Thanks
You
for
too,
Sorry
man.
about this
Take care.
short time. And this is Fred Film Radio, the Festival Insider.
All right.
Right.